Okay, guys. Now, here's the thing. We actually did move on. We're moving on. We're moving on from some of the little Kevin stuff and some of the Tracy stuff. We're kind of moving on, and I got excited. Wait a minute. What do you mean we're at the end? Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for season 1 of the Braxtons. This is episode 7. Well, I did a couple weeks because things just kept, it was this, I fussed about this. I'm not going to begin fussing all over again. It began to be this thing where I kept feeling like I was going to a repass for Tracy over and over and over, and I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it. I'm watching the show, then turning around, talking about it. Listen, I don't attend funerals. I don't attend repasses. I don't do any of the funeral festivities. I ain't even doing my own. Whenever I close my eyes, baby, that is it. I'm not even showing up for my own. I just don't want to indulge. I really don't. I don't want to indulge. The only way I'll do it is if I have to. And I mean truly have to. It has to be somebody that I really care about, who really want me to attend with them or be at their situation. Listen, I got to really care about you, and there's really only a few people that I care like that, deeply like that for. I just don't want to do it. I just cannot. I can't stomach it. I just don't like it. But it felt like that. I felt like every week I was going to a repass. So I just ran like 3 episodes together. And then I said, well, now we need to move on. We need to get out of this and come on, what's about the Braxtons here? It's a talented family that I know you got more going on than this. We moved on somewhat. Tracy is still, the season 1 has been literally the Braxtons dealing with the passing of Tracy. It's 2 years, but it's still fresh, and that's fair. That's fair. You grieve in your own timing. Nobody tells you when for it to be enough. But when you really get down to it, they ain't really got nothing going on that's so deep, other than the fact of the passing of Tracy. So we move on. Now we're going to go to LA, and I was pretty excited about this. We're going to go to LA for a marketing run for Tony, and then the photo shoot for the Braxtons, the show. Of course, there's got to be some drama because we got our friend to the show, Tamar, who's not coming to LA. She's going to do her photo shoot over there in Atlanta, Georgia. And then they'll have to disperse everything together. Then when I heard who was actually doing the photo shoot, maybe they had Derek Blanks doing the photo shoot. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been following Derek Blanks for a very long time. If Derek Blanks was on the moon and wanted to shoot me for a photo shoot, baby, I'll be on the first Greyhound to the moon. Do you understand? Derek Blanks is something serious with a camera and some photo stuff. He is that guy, okay? So I was like, whatever, Tamar, because she's so busy. She's so busy. But anyway, I was like, all right, well, that's, Tamar's playing her part. Tony actually made it naturally because they're in LA, so she made it. The first thing they did, they were talking about this whole thing with Miss E and her date. Miss E, you just sat over there and called that man a purple people eater. Listen, the little man was cute. He was a cute little older man. He really, really was. I mean, little city slicker, doing and saying what city slickers do and say. She is city slickette, so I mean, what is the big deal? But she called him a purple people eater. And the man had purple on from his head to his toes. So now we clowning the man. They zooming in on his watch. And listen, the man was dressed. His little stuff was cute. He had on no cheap clothes. He looked cute. He did. He really did look cute. I said, oh, look, purple people eater. Okay. Some of us like a little purple people eater, honey. But anyway, Miss E said, but her whole issue, I think he was too old for her. He was too old for her. Travis, he's not that old, honey, but some money, Charles. But I just laughed at it. I was like, all right, Miss E, enough of you and you're trying to date. Girl, go sit down. Sit down, Miss E. Anyway, so then the girls they got together. They went down. They seen Tony for they did like a show run through, and they were laughing at Tony. I mean, really laughing at Tony as to the fact that she is not funny, and she's not. You're not funny, Tony. When Tony Braxton is being anything other than sexy, she gives me anxiety. I'll be like, oh God, what's going on? But her, like, is she just so awkward? She is so awkward. And the more I like look at her and I think back, I think Tony Braxton has always been kind of socially awkward. She just really is like a sex goddess. Like she just has sex appeal that oozes from her, and that is her zhuzh. And it's weird. Like Halle Berry is one of those people. Sex just oozes from Halle Berry. Like she ain't even got to try hard, but Halle can actually give you a good interview. She's an actress as well. So I don't know if on like when she's just talking, if it's just a regular meeting, I don't know how she is because I've never met her, but I don't think she's acting when she's like really sitting in her interviews. I think she just really holds a good, interesting conversation. She holds a good, interesting conversation. Tony Braxton, for me, I really was thinking about it, and I'm not dragging Tony. I'm not. No, I like Tony. I go all the way back, honey. Listen, to the very beginning. I've always loved Tony Braxton. But I think she's always been like she plays victim well. She plays sad and she plays victim. And now when it comes to being sick and stuff, she just, there's no play in that. It is what it is. She has some serious situations, but she rests in it well. Just, that's not me. I've been sick. You know what I mean? I've been sick. And I just don't, that's just not me. I'll never give it a sickness like that. No way. No way. No way will I allow myself to give in to sickness to the point where I'm making me miserable. Because that's got to be miserable. It's got to be miserable. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to cower down. I don't want to. I'm this person. So when I see that, and that's kind of how Tony does, like she just kind of just submits, and I'm like, Tony. She submits, and not just to sickness, and everybody not strong like that, but even with like life drama, she kind of submits to it, and that's just kind of what I see from Tony. So it's kind of. And then, like, funny, that just ain't in her. Funny ain't in her at all. I was like, this is awful. Girl, somebody make her sing, honey. Make her dance. Make her be sexy. But don't do nothing else. So, we had that whole thing going on. Now, I'm like, okay, here we go. Because as soon as they started talking about Tracy, I was like, oh, here we go. They started talking about Tracy a little bit. When they, after they did the little thing with Cedric and Tony and all of that stuff, and they had gone to a lunch to have like a little luncheon. It was Trina, Mama Braxton, and Towanda. And when that child, I just burst into tears, child. When Towanda had just said something, like it wasn't that long, beforehand, she said something about Tracy and Tracy being there and how it was really, really strange about her not being there. Because she said, I just keep feeling like at some point Tracy's going to just show up and say something funny. That's just what we're used to. And when that hummingbird went flying by so random, I just burst into tears. I said, "Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. I ain't tuning in for this." But I mean, you have to listen. The power of the universe and what we don't have control of, and I totally submit to the whole hummingbird thing through this. Like, well, I did when they first even said anything about it, about Tracy, and the hummingbirds thing, and how she had the hummingbirds on her, and when they would see the hummingbird, listen, I totally submitted to it because I mean, I believe that. I believe what I believe, and the universe does move like that, and your loved ones do send you signs. They do surround you when need be. And can't nobody tell me that Tracy ain't got nothing to do with their. I mean, because hummingbirds, you don't just run up on hummingbirds. You really do. I mean, how often do you just run up on a hummingbird? And I was like, wow, wow. And they caught it on tape. I don't think it was fake or anything like that. I think it was very genuine, and it really did make me feel a kind of way. It didn't feel bad. It didn't feel bad. Those were tears of joy for them. Yeah. But I mean, I surely did bust in tears. I was like, oh damn. Anyway, so let's move on. Now, Trina was, and I was waiting because I thought she would. When Derek going to see Derek Blanks and all that, and she was really confident that Derek Blanks was going to do it right. And she's worried about the weight gain and stuff like that. Baby, listen. Miss Trina. When Miss Trina came out with her little gold jumpsuit on, they did her right. That whole little disco diva vibe, and they teased her hair, and they did her right. Trina, you looked nice. You looked really nice. I was here for it, and it was quirky. It was very Trina. It was very, it fit. It fit, and I think they camouflaged, they cinched her, and I think they did her really, really good. Miss E looked wonderful. She really did. Very youthful, but still, like I thought she was still age appropriate, but fly. Towanda, off the chain. Off the chain. Towanda was cleaner than them. Okay, gown was bad. Her and that bald head, please. And then she actually, listen, Sean pulled up on him, and she didn't know he was coming, and he had the roses. That was really, really nice. I thought that was really, really nice. They talked about how, Tamar not being there was kind of like it threw the energy off a little bit, as we already got Tracy not there. Then with Tamar not being there, just kind of threw the energy off. And like Tony said, every time they do their photo shoots, it reminds them of like playing dress up when they were little girls. I can see that. That's very cute. Everything like that. Again, Tamar's doing Tamar. Do I believe that she actually couldn't make it? I don't believe that this schedule conflict was that deep. I think you could have made it, but we got to do to make a show. And I think that you personally missed out on a good time because her photo shoot was just kind of blah, and the energy in her room was just like, But the energy where they were was really high, and really, it was a good energy. I think you just missed out on a good time, actually, Tamar, with that one. Yeah. Then we seen Sean and Towanda actually sit together, and they actually talked about her hair journey. And I didn't realize this actually been going on since she was like 7th grade. And she talked about how she was, this was really good information, like the whole thing of like fighting with alopecia. It really is no joke. And especially for ladies who actually go through it, it's just not a joke. I've dealt with it. As a hairdresser, I've dealt with women who have had to deal with alopecia. It's rough. It's a rough journey for them. Um, so I identified with everything that she was saying, and as they were going through the stuff and they were showing these pictures, I still say to this day, Towanda, listen, let me tell you something. You don't even know, maybe it's a blessing in disguise, because I never looked at Towanda like that. I always was like, she's the least attractive of the sisters to me. I've always thought she was the least attractive of the sisters to me. And I'm looking at her, and I'm even when I'm looking back now, and I mean, ain't none of them bad looking. Ain't none of them bad looking at all. So don't. I ain't saying that. But when you really go through them, of the sisters, she was always the least attractive to me, of the sisters. And then who would have thought? Remove the hair, and I think she is the most breathtaking one in the bunch. In the bunch, with no hair whatsoever and just her face. Towanda is absolutely breathtaking. It's so crazy to me. When the show is on, and I'm literally just sitting here watching her, and I mean, not a bad frame, not a bad frame. Every time she's on the screen, she just lights my screen up, and I'm like, Towanda is a bad bitch. I'm looking. And I mean, truly, I have said it. I have spoken it out loud. She's the least attractive of the Braxton sisters to me. And I was wrong. Wrong. All this time. Wrong. Of those Braxton girls, Towanda is literally the most breathtaking one of them. Looks wise, we're talking about just natural looks. Because they ain't beating her face to the point where it's like, let her get a load of me, honey. She just being herself, doing herself with her own style. The clothing, the things that she chooses to wear, and how everything not a bad frame. This whole 7 episodes, not one bad frame. And we done seen her be mad. We done seen her snapping out. We done see her looking worried. Not one bad frame. Miss Towanda Braxton is a bad piece of something, honey. Listen. But she sat with Sean, and he talked about how, he said, I was the first one to ever send you out your wig. And she talked about how she was ashamed, and he's the one that actually made her not ashamed. All of this really made me like Sean better, because I didn't dislike Sean, but I was just like, what's your point? But I was starting to see what it is. She said, the marriage thing, if you get married, cool. If you don't get married, cool. I think he's your person. No matter how y'all frame it and y'all box it up, I think Sean is definitely Tawanda's person. And I was here for all of that. I'm so glad that they actually did shoot that scene, because I got to see their union the way their union is. And does it actually need paperwork? It's smart for it to have paperwork. But if it doesn't have any paperwork, who in the hell cares? Who in the hell cares? I want somebody to care about me the way they care about each other. You understand? I like it. It made me feel good looking at the two of them. I said, look at that. I'm here for it. Tony went on over. Tony did the Jennifer Hudson show, her and Cedric. And she got emotional. And it started to irritate me, because she was submitting. She was submitting to the foolishness, whereas everybody understands. Everybody understands. Jennifer Hudson does well with her show. Some days she do real, real well. Some days she'd be like, but she does real well. And Jennifer knows how to deal with stuff, because Jennifer has been through some stuff when it comes to family tragedy and stuff. Jennifer Hudson understands. So it was no problem, Tony, for you to be at Jennifer Hudson's and lose your shit. And she was so worried. Like, that's the fake of it all. Tony, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm sorry. Oh, was it professional? Who cares about profession? Who cares about whether it came across professional? Your sister transitioned away from here. She didn't do anything to cause her death. She didn't do anything bad to anybody where karma came back and got her. It was just one of those things where God said it was time for Tracy to go home, and you all were left here to have to deal with the grief of one of your unit not being here. Who gives a good shit whether it comes across professional because you had a moment? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? So that whole thing just was getting on my. I mean, she was trying so hard not to cry, not to show her emotions. I'm like, Tony, man, you ain't never going to heal. If you ain't never going to heal like that, and that ain't good. Trying to hold things together like that, you got a autoimmune situation. That ain't good for you doing that. So I'm sitting there looking at all of that, and all of it was just irritating me. Like, it's like you got high stress with this whole thing with this show going on. Then you got that grieving process on you, and then you trying to fight to keep. I was becoming very irritated because I'm feeling like, and then she already wasn't feeling well. So I think I was getting more irritated, not with her, per se. I'm getting irritated because she's making herself sick. And I don't know if she realizes it. You're literally making yourself sick. And stress will take you up out of here. Stress will take you up out of here. So I was getting very irritated. Very irritated. Anyway, but all of that being said, I was glad that we didn't mess with nothing with little Kevin this week. We still got some Tracy stuff, and I just have to accept this season was really about the departure of Tracy. And then I was like, whoa, wait a minute. We literally have only one episode left. This week coming is the last episode. There's only 8 episodes in the week. So we'll talk about it. We're going to see how they wrap this up and put the bow on it. Okay? So I will see you all for the finale. I'll see y'all for the finale. All right. Later.